All right. Did that register? Is it supposed to be green still when I say things? Can it hear me?
Yes. Yeah, wonderful. If it's not quite loud enough, it won't show up on that. But
so you have to talk really loudly, as though you had voice
guys.
modulation.
Welcome back to the Big Freakin Health Coach podcast. All right, that's rolling. Sweet. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Big Freakin Health Coach podcast. I'm Big Freakin Neil. And I'm joined, of course, as always, every single week.
Sometimes twice.
Usually twice. By my business partner, buddy, brain twin, Health Coach Kane. What's going on, man? Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Good.
Things are good. Nice and busy.
Nice.
People are getting fit.
It's always
good.
Like
that.
It's always good as a coach that you're busy and also people are getting fit.
Yeah. How about you?
Same. Super busy.
How's the prep going?
It's going well. I'm feeling good. So the latest update with that is now I'm working with an actual coach.
Coaching has value?
A little bit. A little bit. I gotta tell you. It's so the first show I did back in the day, I did not have a coach. I just sort of picked our mutual friend Ty Center's brain as much as I could. Mm-hmm. But I mean,
it's a good brain to pick.
It's a very good brain to pick. But he's a busy guy, and I didn't actually hire him, so he could only help me with so much. And
he too is busy getting people fit.
Exactly. And it was a really stressful experience of just like constantly second guessing what I was doing, because if the only pair of eyes on me are mine, it's really hard to be objective and objectively know like what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Mm-hmm. Especially the right part, because I'm super hard on myself all the time. So yeah, actually having someone who can look at me and go, no, all these things are good. These one or two things are what you should be focusing on. It's hugely helpful. Yeah. It's amazing. So
that sounds good.
Yeah. No, that's going well. It's just a lot right now between new house, lots of clients.
Yeah, you haven't even noticed that I moved into the room in the back.
I've been so busy.
Sneaking around. That's where all your pancakes are going. Just eating pancakes.
Dang it. Speaking of pancakes, refeed tomorrow.
Whoop, whoop.
That's all I can really think about. I'm having trouble thinking about anything else, to be honest with you. But more importantly, we have an interesting twist on Can I Buy You a Drink today. It's a little different. It's a little fancier.
It's the first time I want to say no.
It's a little more sophisticated.
Oh, yes. From a more refined time.
Yeah, I think so. So for you, buddy, from the Austin domicile fridge, I have a Le Croix is the really, really douchey way to say it.
LaCroix is the really, really terrible way to say it.
I guess. I usually say LaCroix. Where does that?
I say too.
Okay. That's like...
I figure that's middle of the road.
That's middle ground.
Like a total D-bag.
Yeah, that's a safe middle ground for sure. So this LaCroix is limoncello flavored.
Ooh.
I have tried this.
Oh, and it's spelled with an I.
It is.
Limoncello.
Limoncello. This is maybe the fanciest La Croix
it is
of all time.
That is wow.
And to have a classical musical instrument in the flavor name is pretty sophisticated.
Are you ready for the dad joke?
Let's hear it.
Is the bigger one called limon bass?
Just drink your
Well, also because of our wonderful preparation drink-wise for this episode from the Austin family fridge. This is a key lime LaCroix.
Yes, LaCroix. I've heard people say LaCroix a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I like it. LaCroix.
I mean, that's how it's spelled. Yeah. So, full disclosure, I have tried this flavor many times.
Yeah.
It's my go-to.
Yeah, that's my favorite too.
Not to be confused.
That makes sense. It was in your fridge then.
It does make a lot of sense. Not to be confused with the lime-flavored LaCroix.
Oh, no.
It does not compare.
No.
This is key lime, you guys, and it is miles above that
Just one key
absolute swine.
It's just like water from Lake Erie.
Yeah.
Style.
The flavor difference, though, like, I would equate the lime to drinking, we've all seen these memes, drinking a glass of plain water while someone whispers lime from the other room.
Yeah, it's true. This is actually pretty good.
It's solid, right?
Oh my god, I'm very...
So what is it, does it remind you of anything?
What is that aftertaste? It does, but I can't put my finger on it.
I feel like it's almost more of a vanilla-y type of flavor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like almost like an Italian soda type of vibe.
Yes, that's what it was. It's like
that's it, right?
Vanilla Italian soda.
In fact, if you put like
oh, I like that.
If you put one of those like what's the brand? The generic sugar-free syrups that they have at all the coffee stands. Mm-hmm. If you put a little bit of that in there, it'd probably be just like an Italian soda.
Yeah, honestly. It would be. That's good. We're gonna get that next time.
Where are you rating it, buddy?
I'm gonna give it a 4.2. Nice. I like it. I mean, there's not a caffeine factor, a metallic, chemically aftertaste to factor into it.
No.
So yeah, 0 calories.
Nutritionally, LaCroix really confuses me. Mm-hmm. Because it only has zeros on the label.
Yeah.
And like zero sodium doesn't. Where's the carbonation from? Is what I want to know.
I do not know.
Naturally,
I will actually have to look into that.
Naturally essenced carbonated water.
I think that actually means that they just leave the can next to what it's supposed to taste like. They're like, you guys just mingle. It's totally fine. Just get a sense of each other's essence, and then we'll sell you to strangers.
Yeah, probably. Somebody probably eats a whole bunch of limes and lemons and then just like breathes on it, like blows into it.
Burp on it.
Oh, this is starting to be gross.
Right. This is a good start to a Q&A podcast, I think. Just obsessing over sparkly water.
So I'm going to rate this. This is my go-to. I'm going to rate it... So we're talking like as far as flavored seltzer waters go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for 6.
Cool.
It's cool.
Yeah. It's solid.
It's very solid.
We get that one a lot. We have
very solid.
A box of that and a box of tangerine LaCroix at home.
I've never tried tangerine.
It's pretty good.
Maybe you should bring that in for me sometime.
Maybe I will. Maybe.
We'll see.
I'd promise, but today I failed miserably.
So today, buddy, what are we talking about?
We got a Q&A, bud. We got a bunch of really good questions.
My favorite.
Some pretty interesting ones, and I am excited.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of really genuinely helpful questions this time.
Yeah. I mean, the other ones are fun.
The other ones are super fun. Especially, I especially liked the choosing a plant for ourselves and a dinosaur for ourselves. Yes. That was a blast.
It was nice to talk about our spirit creatures that way.
Yes. But I think this Q&A will probably provide the most actual value for people, besides just entertainment value, out of all of them. That's what I'm predicting here. Mm-hmm. So number 1, let's dive right in. When you've asked clients what their fitness goals are, what are some of the most ridiculous answers you've been given?
So, first of all, I'd like to say that your reason for doing anything, even if it's kind of shitty and vindictive or incredibly shallow, is your reason.
Yeah.
Don't have any shame about it.
It's not ridiculous.
If you want to get in great shape just so you can be super hot, that's fine. The one that springs to mind is I did have a client who, after asking him why, the way we do over and over, got down to his real base reason for getting in better shape, and that he was getting divorced and he wanted to win the breakup, and his ex-wife is still pretty hot, and he's like, I got some work to do.
Hey.
And I was like, all right, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's a perfectly reasonable goal.
It was a strong motivator.
Yes. So I don't know if this is really an accurate question or an accurate answer to this question, but what comes to my mind, of goals that clients have told me is not to look like me. I've gone that a couple times. Usually female clients, if because I have a lot of awesome female clients that have gotten really, really strong, and they love to lift weights. And one of my favorite things as a coach actually is to educate those clients on how they can lift heavy and be strong and not turn into me. And so part of that education process is initially when I'm talking to them about how their program is going to look, and they're seeing a lot of these free weight exercises in there, they go, well, I'm not trying to look like you. Like, let's just be clear. So that's when I've gotten a handful of times.
Do you hit him with the Schwarzenegger answer?
Oh, what would that be?
People used to come up to Schwarzenegger and be like, I never want to look like you. And he goes, that's okay, you won't.
That's okay, you will not. You will never look like me.
Do that from now on with every client.
Yes, exactly. No, so that's a genuine concern of a lot of people, though. There's this misconception that you will touch a weight and overnight you'll get like muscle bound and too bulky.
Like in that first Spider-Man movie?
Yeah, yes, exactly. But it is way more of an uphill battle than that. I can attest to that. Like,
I mean, you've been lifting what, like 9 days now?
Yeah, something like that. It's going pretty well, I think. It's going pretty well.
It's like a decade of lifting will get you somewhere maybe in the ballpark if you're really on top of it.
Yeah. And just like when I think back to when I was actively trying to put on muscle, because obviously now I'm in prep mode, I'm not getting any bigger currently. But when I was, like the amount of unrelenting consistency it took, like with food and training and everything every single day, it's not an accident. No. You have to eat a very specific way and train a very specific way to get that outcome. So
it has to be extremely intentional.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, moving on. What are the best traits of a good client?
Communicate frequently and openly and be consistent.
Yeah.
That is all I ask of you.
That just about sums it up. I don't really have anything to add. I can't even stress enough the communication piece. It's huge, man. Like,
you don't get anywhere if you don't have that.
Yes.
Like the clients that will lie to you about what they've done.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of an ego-sparing thing, but I understand why that happens.
Yeah.
I'm not like salty about it. I get it. I do the same thing when I talk to me.
Right. Right.
So like, yeah, I get that, but it's really hard for me to make the appropriate adjustments for you if you're not being honest with which parts of the program you are and aren't following.
Yeah. I also think that, like if there's an issue that a client is having within a program and they don't communicate that to you, there's nothing that we can then do to help them move past it. For example, like, even like stupid things like technical difficulties, like one of my clients recently actually with the app that we both use for program delivery, for some reason the wrong program was showing up in their app, even though it wasn't the current one. And because they immediately communicated that to me, I was able to go in and fix the issue. But had they not, then they would have had the wrong set of workouts for a week.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff like is super valuable.
You don't want that to lead to misconceptions like, oh, he's just recycling the workouts we've already done,
Exactly.
stuff like that.
Exactly.
I had a really good example of that this week, actually. I have someone who's recently taken on a lot more responsibility at their job and in their profession. And she's been training 4 days a week really hard for like 3-ish months now. And like she came in earlier this week and we were supposed to deadlift. She looks at the bar and she goes, yeah, I just don't want to do it. And I was like, okay, so is this like you don't want to do it because you don't feel like it? Or like this seems really daunting right now? And she's like, I'm just smoked. Like I'm tired. I'm worn out. I was like, okay, that means it's time for a deload week.
Yeah.
Like we tried some single leg stuff. Her balance wasn't very good. So I can tell there's just chronic fatigue happening.
Yeah.
But if you don't say stuff like that and you just gut it out and do a half-assed job instead, like you don't get the rest you need, you're not going to make the progress you want to, and we can't move forward.
Yeah.
So it was really good that she was able to say that.
Worst case scenario, if you're trying to push through chronic fatigue and something with your form goes wrong, then you could get hurt.
Yeah.
Also, that's a big deal. 100%.
Yeah. So I'm actually really proud of clients who speak up and are just like, this is harder than it should be, and I don't know why, what's going on.
Yeah. Yep. I am actually very fortunate to have pretty much exclusively communicative clients, and I'm sure you are as well. And it helps so much.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
So yeah, that'd be the big one for that question, I think.
Agreed. Okay, when people hear new fitness/nutrition advice or tips, what are some good resources to check out the validity of the information on their own before trying it?
The number one obvious one is there a reference to a study?
Yep, exactly.
Actually read the study. And when you read the study, what you're looking for on a very basic level is, was this used for people who are in a similar situation to you? So like if the test, like the sample group is significantly overweight people who have been sedentary for 6 or more months and are just now making their first exercise or dietary changes, and you're a fairly fit person who's been active regularly, these results are not going to be applicable to your situation.
It's not relevant,
Is it one doctor or researcher who is putting up a study that is opposed to the commonly studied and established things? Because it's very rare that one person will find some strange breakthrough that works better and is contradictory to the rest of the body of science on that particular issue.
Yep.
So that's a good place to start, is to follow it to a cited study.
Yeah. The other thing to look at for studies specifically is, is there a company, how do I put this? Is there a conflicting interest of a company that funded this study? Yes. So in other words, a lot of times supplements will fund studies and therefore sort of not fake them, but manipulate the results in favor of their products. Mm-hmm. So, for example, they'll like a testosterone booster or something that's mostly BS. They'll fund a study that shows, it's a 300% increase in testosterone, but then there's other factors that they're not disclosing.
Things like, for example, none of that testosterone boost is free testosterone that actually does. So like they'll cherry pick the pieces of that actually support what they want. Yes. So it's good looking at special interest groups.
It may not be an absolute lie as far as the numbers, but cherry picking is a good way to put it.
The actual application of that information is not practical.
So look at the web address of the study you find too. If it's a .org, like if it's from a legitimate medical organization, then it's probably a safe bet. If it's buried in some supplement website, probably not. Probably not a safe bet.
So I would start with that. That's a pretty easy place to start. Always look for some kind of third party.
Yeah.
Like a peer-reviewed study is a good place to start, but the study should also have a control group. Preferably have some kind of randomized event to it and things like that, so that you can actually compare it against normal-ass people.
Definitely not all studies are created equal.
Yeah. You can also find a couple people that you trust in these things. So like I know for fitness stuff, I trust anything Eric Cressy puts out, anything Tony Gentilcore puts out.
Yeah.
Nutrition-wise, Alan Aragon's a great place to go. Nice. And then examine.com does a lot of independent research into supplement facts and also nutrition practices. I'm actually signed up for their research review every month. They send me all the coolest, newest stuff. So that's a good way to do it. Just no one has a shortcut. So if it's claiming that it does something significantly better than everybody else, it's probably bullshit.
It's a red flag, yeah. Also, guys, we are always available to take questions as well. And if we don't know the answers, we will be honest about that and steer you in the right direction to get those answers.
I love saying I don't know. It means I get to learn something and help somebody else figure out how to learn something too.
Yes, exactly. Okay, moving right along here. When shopping for fitness clothes, if you're just starting your fitness journey, are there any considerations you should keep in mind for fit, comfort, and fabric type?
For just getting started, I'd say go cheap.
Yeah.
It just has to be big enough that you can move in it and you feel comfortable wearing it. And for some folks, you feel comfortable being seen in it.
Yeah.
And as far as fabric type, if you have really touchy skin that likes to break out if you have sweat on it, then you should spring for something that's moisture wicking.
Yeah.
Otherwise, man, when I first started getting back into lifting stuff, I went to a Value Village. I bought a bunch of t-shirts. I washed them, and I lifted in that.
Yeah, I agree.
You're just going to sweat into it anyway.
Especially if you have like any kind of major fat loss goals, then you're going to need new clothes soon anyway. Yeah. So go cheap. Yeah, fabric type is also kind of a personal preference. Like, there are certain fabrics that make me sweat more and they make me smell worse. Mm-hmm. So I just know what those fabrics are and I avoid them. Yeah. But yeah, it is more down to personal preference, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. You don't need to be decked out in the latest Nike gear. Yeah. Just go to Value Village.
Yep, and if people at your gym are douchebags about stuff like that, find a different gym. Go someplace where people want to actually do some work.
Yeah, you don't want to go to a gym full of fitness models that are just trying to put on a show and yeah, it's not a fashion show.
Yeah, it's a bunch of tiny weak people who take selfies and go home.
Exactly. It's a really funny question for us because we spend most of our lives in fitness clothes. So to me, they're just clothes. I mean,
I'm wearing basic Nike basketball shorts, right? The cloth ones, because they feel better to me. Yeah. And an Under Armour shirt.
I'm also wearing an Under Armour shirt.
Yep.
And just like mesh shorts. Generic. I think I got them at Target.
Yep.
Pretty sure.
That's all it takes, man.
That's all you need.
Don't overthink it.
Don't wear flip-flops to the gym.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
If you're lifting, shoes is a good actual subject. Yeah, it is. If you're lifting in shoes, the least amount of sole you can get, like the thinnest sole, the better. If you are running a lot, then go ahead and get the thick soles because you have to absorb some impact. Yeah. Every running step you take is the equivalent of 3 times your body weight on your lower body joints.
Yeah.
So cushion that stuff. And I think there's a question about running later, so I'll save the rest of that for that. But,
cool. Okay. Yeah, the flatter the shoe, the better if you're using them for things like squats, deadlifts. If you're doing both, like running and then also lifting, depending on the rules in your gym, you might be able to slip off your shoes and just go in your socks for your set of squats and then put your shoes back on in between and use those to go run. But definitely check with your gym before you do that.
Yeah, they tend to get angry.
Some do, yes. Okay, what are your thoughts on popular network shows like the American Ninja Warrior or the Titan Games? Do you think they inspire a positive interest in fitness?
I think that they do at a base level.
Yeah.
Because you see people do cool stuff, you want to do cool stuff, and that's kind of the whole reason for getting into it. Mm-hmm. I think the issue comes with you see the finished product in those shows. You don't see any of the work or the time frame that went into that. So, like, there are people who train for a decade.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, cool, there's this new thing called American Ninja Warrior. Mm-hmm. I can skew my training to an obstacle course style thing, and maybe I can do that. But, like, you've seen ex-Olympic gymnasts go on American Ninja Warrior and not make the second round.
Yeah.
It isn't just a blanket, you're in shape, you can do this thing.
Yeah. I don't know how much it inspires, like, good practical fitness habits in that, just what you said, you're seeing, like, top tier athletes after a decade or more of training, and you're not seeing any part of the process along the way. I think most people, when they see those shows, they're not thinking, like, ooh, that inspires me to try to do stuff like that. They're more thinking, wow, I can never do that. You know what I mean? Because it's so far above what the average person can do. That's why it's entertaining.
Yeah.
We watch it.
That's true. That's a good point.
We watch it and we go, wow, they just went across that crazy obstacle course without falling. I would have fallen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might, I don't know.
I mean, I could see people saying, I'd like to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I think, thinking about it a little bit more, you're probably right.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily inspire you to put in the work to do something like that.
Yeah, I think that...
It's like Titan Games, you see The Rock come out there to announce, you're like, well, that dude's huge, but he doesn't televise all his 4 a.m. workouts every day of the week.
Yeah.
So...
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The issue is you're not seeing any of the practical steps to get there. So it's not... It may be somewhat inspiring. Mm-hmm. That's valid.
But it's not motivating.
But it's not necessarily motivating, and it's not really educational in any way. All right, moving on. What is the greatest occupational hazard of being a personal trainer?
Sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
You know what's actually hardest right now for me?
What's that?
Even more than sleep deprivation, which is a very real thing at the moment. Finding time to actually work out myself.
Yeah.
It's like I'm
can be a
training
challenge.
at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
every weekday.
Yeah.
My last session's at 7 p.m. most weekdays.
Yeah.
Man, like just making sure that you get it in gets tough. I'm working out 2 days a week right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm just in a maintenance mode until I reorganize this schedule and get it cracking again.
Right. It really does all boil down to lack of time, I think.
Yeah.
All the occupational hazards of being a trainer, because everything about our job is fairly time consuming in terms of, especially now that we're doing house calls and stuff. There's
So much driving.
travel time. Yeah, there's drive time. There's the hour or however long you spend with the client. There's the programming for that client. So there is a lot of time that goes into each individual client, which is how it should be. It's a good thing. But then, yeah, you put on top of that, like for example, me being in prep right now, I work out twice a day, including my cardio session in the morning. So, yeah, finding the time for all that and then still sleeping is tough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's usually the first thing that gets eaten away is your hours of sleep, generally.
Yeah. I think most people expect stuff like injuries, being crushed with weights,
Yeah.
clients being super rude, or like one person asked me how many times I had been falsely accused of some kind of sexual harassment, which is zero. It's never been an issue ever one time. It's part of my insurance package, so I guess it's happened to somebody, but
Yeah.
like I was taken aback by that. I'm like,
Never
people
happened
don't
to
just
me.
frivolously come around and be like, oh, this guy
No.
while we were training. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no.
I've seen some trainers that probably probably that would have been justified for in my day, but no, I've never heard of a false accusation myself. I don't know.
Not once.
Well, it must be semi-common, I guess. Why does running suck? It really does.
It does. And I have a very specific theory as to why.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So your heart rate zones are split up into 5 different zones. Now, for the average cardiovascular health of an American citizen, running is in your top 2 heart rate zones right out of the gate. But no one starts with walking.
Yeah.
They start jogging. So the things that would have you in your zone 1 or zone 2 where you're doing aerobic low intensity work is walking for you.
Yeah.
But you've decided to run, and that puts you kind of in the top of zone 3, bottom of zone 4 if you're running slowly.
Yeah.
Just because you're untrained at this point. And doing that intensity of work for what you think the duration of a jog should be is really, really difficult.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not simply that running is difficult. I mean, it's not an easy activity, especially if you haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
And the impact of every step also leads into that if you're untrained for it.
For sure.
Another reason to start with walking and build up to it. But I think mostly it sucks so bad because people overshoot the aerobic part of that by running instead of walking first.
Yeah. I mean, any activity that's going to get your heart rate up close to its max is going to feel awful.
Yeah.
It's going to suck. So I do 45 minutes of cardio every day right now, and none of it is running.
Yeah.
Zero. I walk on a steep incline, not even that fast, because I track my heart rate while I do it, and I get my heart rate to sort of in the 125 to 140 range. Anywhere in there, get the actual fat burning going, and that's all I need. I would never. I don't even have the desire to run. Now, if you have a specific reason, like you're preparing for something, then you'll need to run. But even then, you should train within certain heart rate ranges, and like you said, work up to an actual run.
It's like when you see the folks who do go for an hour jog.
Yeah.
They're in the shape by that point where that's like
For
heart
them,
rate zone 2.
yeah. For
for an
them,
hour.
they are in that range.
Yeah, it's the
Exactly.
same as you or I going for a walk.
Exactly.
So that's why running sucks when you first get started. You probably skipped a step and you're just not starting slow enough.
Yeah.
And slow down. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Yeah. And if you're in a position where you're getting ready for an event and you need to start running soon, try going for walks and then sprinkling in some running intervals. Not sprints,
Not sprints.
but yeah,
Jog for a minute.
jog for a minute.
Walk for 5.
Exactly. That would be
and
perfect.
forth.
Back and forth. And then gradually increase the jog time and just monitor what your heart rate is doing. I would highly recommend if you do cardio outside to get a heart rate monitor of some kind, just so you can see. If you're on a machine, if you're on a treadmill or something, you can usually get a ballpark based off the machine.
This is actually a good topic.
Yeah.
If we don't do a full episode on it, I think I'll do a blog on it. So if you want to check that out, go to alexkanehealthcoach.com.
Yeah.
I'll have that up by next week. And it'll have in case you can afford a heart rate monitor, which I do agree would be the best way to go.
Yeah.
I'll put a chart in there that has like a rate of perceived exertion conversion chart for the heart rate zones.
Yeah.
So you can kind of guesstimate where about you are.
Perfect. Yeah, generally, like how well you'd be able to hold a conversation is usually a good marker. Yeah. How out of breath you are and if you can actually speak. Totally. Okay, cool. I'll keep an eye out for that too. Last one today, buddy.
Ooh.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh?
I know, right?
Oh, man.
Like a little sad it's almost over.
I know, me too. In your opinion, which Olympic event is the most physically demanding and why?
Do you want to give 2 answers, one for summer, one for winter?
I guess so. Yeah. Man, I haven't seen the Olympics in a really long time, not gonna lie.
Well, football's not an Olympic sport.
Nope.
I don't think baseball's an Olympic sport this time around.
Yeah.
It was, and then it wasn't, and then it was again, and now it's not, but it probably will be later.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go Olympic weightlifting.
Yep.
For summer. Because cleaning and pressing 300 pounds over your head is definitely physically taxing.
Unbelievable.
And like those types of exercises too, the amount of momentum and muscle control and everything that they have to have and the mechanics of it, it's brutal, man. That stuff is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Oh, God.
So that's my summer answer. My winter answer, I don't know. There's a lot of good ones.
I don't know all the Olympic winter sports.
I don't either. I'm going to go, because this is really the only one that I watch, I'm going to go with the snowboarders, like the half pipe.
Yeah.
Because they do some wild stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like flipping and twirling and, all that stuff. It looks hard to me. I don't know.
It looks very hard. I've never even tried it.
Yeah.
I get scared.
Yeah.
Like I like my ACLs right where they are.
I once took snowboarding lessons on turf. This is a really weird thing.
Seems legit.
Yeah. I told you a couple weeks ago that my family lived in England for a while.
Uh-huh.
So while we were in England, for some reason we decided to take snowboarding lessons in like mid-July.
Yeah.
And it was like a slope, but it was all made of like white turf. So it was made to look like snow.
Can you turn on that stuff?
Not well. Kinda.
I feel like the snow like divots when you turn, and then the turf probably does not.
I wouldn't know because I've only ever snowboarded on turf. So I've never tried to use
That's
what
more
I
experience
learned.
than I have.
Well, there you go. Maybe we should go snowboarding sometime.
Dude, so yeah, summer I'm going to agree and say Olympic weightlifting, because not only do you have to be stupid strong, but the power that goes into that,
The explosiveness.
that goes in there, like it's like sprint weight training.
Yeah.
And man, clean and jerk's one thing, but snatch,
Yeah.
you want to just throw a couple 100 pounds over your head and catch it at the
Dude.
bottom of a super deep ass to grass squat and then stand up with it.
Yeah.
Pass.
Dear God.
Like there are other, like it's hard to, I can't look at it from a skills kind of thing. I have to look at it from raw athletic performance.
Sure.
Because you could take something like, I'm sure there's a ton of skill that goes into trampoline or speed walking.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry. That's a fun hobby, but I can't call speed walking a sport.
Yeah, I agree.
So that kind of thing. And then Winter Olympics, I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction.
Okay.
And be like, so there's a lot of skill sports there. I think the thing that physically would be most challenging of the sports that I know of for Winter Olympics, I would say either being a sweeper for a curling team.
Okay.
Because
interesting.
That's just a ton of cardiac output really quickly.
True. Yeah.
It's reactive. So I feel like maybe that's more of a stress thing than anything else because they look just like balls of anxiety.
They look so stressed. Yeah.
But I think the number one is they have, what is that? Biathlon, whatever, where you cross country ski.
Oh yeah.
And then you have to like air rifle.
Oh yeah. What is
do
that
marksmanship
called?
Shit. I want to say biathlon or
something like that. Yeah. That's a cool event. I forgot about that.
But can you imagine jacking your heart rate up with a long cross country ski and then you're like, okay, if I breathe wrong even a little bit.
Yeah. No kidding.
Like I think
that'd be tough.
From a cardiovascular standpoint.
Yeah.
Jack it up and then that recovery heart rate has to be amazing.
Yeah.
So
I could see that maybe. For sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Physically, maybe slalom skiing because
which one's that?
the one where you have to do the skiing between the things because your knees, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, and just again the muscle control to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And not, break your ACLs.
Yeah. Just snap all the ligaments in your knees.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's all hard. It all looks super hard.
It all looks so hard.
I want to do it.
Just
hard
like
pass.
that's just like the Titan games right there. Just like, it looks really cool that person can do that. Yeah. I don't want
it's
to.
Too hard. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's our super demotivational conclusion to the Big Freakin' Health Coach
the
podcast.
Olympics, don't try.
Yeah. Any aspiring Olympians out there, just give up.
Yeah, we might not be the coaches for you.
No, we're not.
Absolutely.
We don't even know all the
you
events.
Have so many other specialized coaches.
I won't coach people on Olympic lifts.
Oh, no. I don't have any experience.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
I've never done them personally, and I don't coach things I haven't done, and I don't have a desire to do them because...
No, and don't let CrossFit fool you. A weekend beginner's class on that is not enough to get you to start throwing weight around.
No, it's
not. It's an
an
incredibly technical thing.
Yeah.
There are people who spend months, if not years, just working with the bar.
Yeah.
So...
Yep, 100%.
Is that it? That wraps up the Q&A?
That wraps up our Q&A today.
Man, good questions today, guys. Keep sending them in. We really appreciate them. They're really fun.
Yeah.
This has been the Big Freakin' Health Coach podcast.
Yes, it has.
This is Big Freakin' Neil.
Yes,
to my right over here, I'm Health Coach Kane. If you guys have follow-up questions to anything from this episode, please DM us on Instagram.
Please do.
Give this episode a 5-star review if you enjoyed it, and share it with other people who would enjoy it too. And we will see you guys next week.